Well, it's time to move our fat hens into the chicken tractor. They're just running out of room where they started off, and we're going to put them in the barn for a couple of days before we roll this thing outside. We've had some rainy weather and stuff, so we want to give them a good chance to get used to this and let the weather straighten up, and then we'll get them on some green grass. We're pretty well done with the barn now, except for cleaning it out, so they shouldn't be in the way. We built this chicken tractor last year. This is the second one I've made, completely different design than the first one. And we've ran 2 sets of fat hens through it last year, and we'll be running a set through this year. So I just thought I'd talk a little bit about how we built it, what we like, and what I'd do different if I build another one next time around. The footprint, it's about 6 by 12, I think. Just a sec, I'll measure it. Yeah, the footprint is 6 by 10. And we've got, that's 3/4 inch PEX line there. They're, roughly 2 feet apart. And we use these copper holder downer thingies just to hold everything in place. There's one at the top, and each one has, I don't know if you can see, there's 2 at the bottom on each side. So these are each 10 feet long. There's 6 of them, so that's 60 feet of PEX line. And then everything else is pretty well 2 by 4 and 1 by 4 construction. We sandwich the chicken wire in between the 1 by 4 and the 2 by 4 on the bottom, and that seems to work pretty good for giving us a fairly decent edge there. It's nice and light, it moves around pretty good. That works for us and against us here because it gets so windy that we sometimes worry that it's going to blow away. So we have run a little bit of wire through it in the odd spot. We use that to either just put a tarp over it and tie the tarp down to that in rainy weather, or if it's going to be really windy, we'll drive some rebar into the ground with a hook on one end just to keep everything from blowing away on us. We kind of played around with it a little bit last year to see what we liked, what we didn't. We, of course, every time you move it, if you don't have your water as part of the unit, well, then you got to move the water too. So we glued an elbow onto a piece of, that's 3-inch sewer line, and glued a cap on the other end, and then just ran it down, and we've got some chicken nipples down there. Yeah, this is at an angle, so the water just drains down there. That serves as a reservoir, and that 3-inch pipe holds about 5 gallons of water, which is full day's water and then some. The chicken nipples, they don't seal up completely. They're always dripping a little bit, so on an inside area where you're not moving around very much, that would be a problem. It would get kind of wet there after a while, but if you're moving it every couple days, it doesn't matter. We put originally just 1 feed tube in there like that, but it really wasn't enough for everybody to eat, so we ended up installing 2. We just fill these up with their feed, and those are 2-inch holes in there. And the feed runs out to about the 1st or 2nd hole by itself, and then when they're in there pecking at it, just the jiggling around all that, it finds its way down to the far end, so they can access feed from all the holes. That was okay. You can see here the wire is a little bit sunken down at the top. We had it in here in the fall, and we had some turkeys in the barn at the same time. We got some bad weather before butchering, and the turkeys wanted to roost on this all the time. So we had some, 20-pound turkeys sitting on the tarp, and kind of stretched the wire down a little bit, but it held 2 of them, and nothing fell apart that way. Wheels, I just made them out of wood. I would have used some lawnmower wheels, but we didn't have any of the right size, so, and they're on a flip over that comes over center and lifts it up off the ground. so that the guy can move it around. You got to be careful that you don't have any escapees when they're sneaking out the back. And then you can just set it down again. There's one on each side. Something I like about this design is the front. It's just kind of got like a little trailer hitch end on it. That hole is about 5 inches from the front of the chicken tractor. And then I have a little dolly welded up here. You can see it's got a handle and a couple of wheels about 20 inches apart. That's just a bolt welded on there. It's about 5 inches from the dolly. And if I were to do this again, I would make the bolt probably 7 to 8 inches, because when it turns, you can't turn as sharp as I'd like to without the wheels hitting. So if this just had a little bit more of a turning radius, that would be a good thing. I don't think you want the trailer hitch part sticking out more, or you'll end up tripping over it. So that would be something I would do different on the next one. Cap here, this is just a wooden one because that's what we had. Just cut this out of a piece of wood, stick in the hole. We've had pretty good luck building stuff with the sewer pipe, but one thing I found with these caps, if you use the temporary caps, the sun rots them pretty quickly. And these ones are still in pretty good shape, but after about a year or two of sitting outside, they just start to crack and fall apart. So going with a different kind of plastic or maybe some wood or something else would be preferential there. In the fall, we had a little bit of trouble with the birds would all kind of hunker down right next to the outside edge and just kind of there sleeping to stay warm together in a corner or something, and that wasn't a problem. But we had some predation problems. Something could just reach through here a little bit and nibble away at them, and a couple of them got hurt. We had to put one down, and another one was hurt, but it healed up if I remember right. And so we put these offsets on here all the way around, and I just took it off because we're going to be moving it quite a bit. I mean, this is just electric fence wire. We ran electric fence wire through there and put a fencer on it, and grounded the chicken wire part of it, so if anything was trying to reach through, it would have to reach through the wire that goes around the perimeter and then touch that grounded chicken wire, and that seemed to stop anything from trying to reach through and get the birds. Yeah, everything else is just pretty straightforward construction. Seemed to have held up pretty good. I think it probably cost about, well, a little over $100 to build it by the time you buy the chicken wire and the PEX and all the rest of it. But if you can find some scrap stuff to use to build up the rest of it, that's probably the way to go, because it's just a chicken tractor after all. Anyways, that's the deal. I'm gonna go get the fat hens moved in here and get some water going for them, and they're gonna enjoy having all this extra space and all this weed seeds and stuff that are in the bottom here to scratch through for a couple of days.